And like a good CEO, like a good leader, she's put together a team, including myself and others, to go out and communicate things she doesn't have time to communicate. And I think I've been effective. I know others have as well. And I think that's going to make a big difference, and it's underappreciated.
It's a crazy world, crazy world. Somebody's gotta have to save you. It's a crazy world. It's a crazy world. Somebody's gotta have to save you.
Alrighty, it is Tuesday, November 26, 2024. I'm Dave Rubin. This is the Rubin Report. We are live streaming via the latest in internet technology on Rumble, on YouTube, on Locals. We've got a post-game show, rubinreport.locals.com. And I should note that this is our last live show before the Thanksgiving break. We will be pre-recording tomorrow's show. I'm letting my team go home and eat turkey with their families. I am a benevolent leader. So we're pre-taping tomorrow's show, and then also this afternoon I will be sitting down with Lara Trump. There are some rumors that perhaps she's angling for Marco Rubio's Senate seat, as he's going to be Secretary of State in the Trump administration. We'll see about that. And one bit of housekeeping before we start. A few of you noticed yesterday that I was not wearing my wedding ring, and then the rumors begin. My God, is Dave Rubin divorced? What's happening over there? But the truth of the matter is I jammed my finger while playing basketball, and the ring does not fit. It's like Cinderella or one of those, the ring. And you know, if the ring don't fit, you got to acquit or something like that. Anyway, the swelling should be down by the time we're back live in studio in a couple days. We got a great show for you today. The media is continuing to melt down. There are a ton of good signs that the culture is turning and that people are kind of lining up behind Trump. And I'm telling you, and I just, if nothing else is said about Dave Rubin in 50 years from now, let it be said that he was the one that predicted the great return of America, because I'm telling you, it's on the way, guys, and they're doing everything they can to stop it, but they will not be able to stop it. So let's just jump in, because the main thing over the last couple of weeks has been this flip of online media and mainstream media, and how I keep telling you, we're going to have to figure out the balance, like how much do we have to pay attention to them, but you can't just let them go when they're starting to lose. You really have to kind of bury them altogether before they figure out new ways of coming back and transforming and rejiggering themselves. And next thing you know, we're fighting them on even ground again. But they are losing. So let's jump over to CNN, where there are massive rumors that they're going to cut salaries and fire a couple people. Anderson Cooper makes $20 million a year to do that freaking show. Wolf only makes $3 million. I thought Wolf would have done more. Half man, half wolf. You'd think he'd get a little something extra. Jake makes about $7 million, but it sounds like a whole bunch of them are going to get fired. But as it's going over there, Scott Jennings, who we've played a ton of videos of lately, he's the one sort of sane Republican conservative over there. They keep putting him on these panels to argue with these people. And this clip is actually hilarious. So he's on a panel and they're talking now about Twitter, because that's the flip that I'm talking about. Now you have mainstream talking about what's going on online. That is the reversal of everything. So here Scott Jennings talks about how X, Twitter, is now the most balanced platform online. And watch what happens here. This is just great.
Also, I heard what you're saying about X. I saw a survey this week. It's now the most ideologically balanced user platform.
Scott, stop. It's too early. I just sat down. I've only been here for 2 minutes. You cannot continue to say
the show, but
you cannot say that.
So,
that's not the case.
So
Who's the source of that?
What I find, we reported it on this network.
It's not accurate, and you know it.
Okay, I'll let you make your statement.
Scott,
but my point is
can I reframe it a different way? Because the site changed radically, right? So whether you think the voices it is somehow more balanced now, that's fine. But no doubt Musk's influence is profound, and that you open it up and now you're there with his opinion, and he is now part of this administration. So does anyone else think that there should be this greater concern about billionaires purchasing media companies?
Okay. Would you be worried if Bill Gates controlled MSNBC?
No, because he's sane.
Because MS...
Okay, so there's multiple reasons that's funny. Connor, can you show me an image of MSNBC just days ago? We happened to cover this. MSNBC, days ago, we covered this. They are talking about how now, if you look there under 2024, CNN, not MSNBC, they're lodged in my brain these days. They're just days ago covering how 48% of users on X/Twitter are Democrats, 47% are Republicans. So actually 1%, I'm sure that's within the margin of error or whatever. But like, the point is, it is wildly even. There is parity there, and contrast that to what you're looking at from 2022 when Twitter was hugely Democrat and way less Republican. Now, so he's citing a stat from his own network. The woman literally says, you cannot say that. Who is the source? It's not accurate. None of them will issue a correction or apologize or anything else. It's just the usual drivel. But do you see what's really going on here? What's really going on here is what they fear more than anything else is that if we just have an even playing field, and that's all Elon did, right? He removed the weight that was on the scales, right? That's all he did. He did not come in and start reorganizing the place so that it would be more conservative or anything like that. He just said there will be more voices on here. He made sure shadow banning went away. He allowed accounts that had been banned to come back. He fired 80% of the workforce so that the government wouldn't be able to come into Twitter and say, oh, we don't like that tweet about COVID or about election denial or this, that, the other thing, and we're going to remove that tweet or remove that account, which is exactly what they did to one of my tweets, as you know. So that's what he did. And what they hate most is that the ideological war will be on an even playing field. They have no problem when the government is working with Twitter to silence conservative voices, right? They have no problem that Mark Zuckerberg in the previous election before this one was dumping tons of Zuckerbucks to help Joe Biden, right? They have all the other platforms. The reason it's exact, you know what the best way to describe this is? You know how the entire mainstream media for years is always telling us how bad Fox News is? And it's like Fox News is the only counter to the other one. So you can have whatever opinions you want about Fox, but it's the only counter. Well, that's what they're doing with X now, because they've got Facebook, they've got YouTube, they've got TikTok, like they're all on the other side. So you have to aim all your fire on the one place that is a little more in line with American values. Let's continue over there. Cari Champion, she's got a solid name. That's a solid name. I'll give her that much. Here she is, that same woman saying that X is not a peaceful place and it's going to get worse under a certain orange man.
X, and you said in some ways, always. I feel like X, I don't know if anyone is on it in any capacity. I don't know if you're on it. And you're the only one? You're on it? You all are on it? Okay. I've actually decided to take a rest of peace because it is not a peaceful place for me. And I know if, in fact, you don't agree with this current administration, most people can say that it's not a peaceful place. I wouldn't be surprised if there was an actual bid made to take on MSNBC, but the fact that it just can't happen in real life.
And we
just
can't.
It's not even
for sale.
Yeah, it's not officially for sale.
The last
it's not
time
even
he
realistic.
mused about maybe buying something.
It's not even realistic in real life. But I do believe that media, everyone sitting here at this table, if you don't agree, we're in for some tough years ahead. I do believe that we are not going to be able to be as safe or say what we want to. I don't think free speech is going to be as free.
Now, Scott, I want to bring you in here because this kind of.
We're not going to be as safe and free speech won't be as free. Dude, chick, whatever you are, it doesn't matter. It's like all he's doing is letting more people say things on there. As I always say, if you don't like what's being said back to you, don't look at your mentions. There's various filter tools and everything else. I do want to add that, for 2 years probably, especially before Elon bought Twitter, I was always saying, when I would mention Twitter, I would always say, if you're not on Twitter, don't be on Twitter. I actually reversed that statement at this point. Because we now have a social media platform that has detangled itself from the matrix to whatever extent I think these things can be detangled. That is the place you should be going for news. It's why when I do this show, so much of what drives it is what's coming out of Twitter, because obviously that's way more truthful. It is nice of her to say that she realizes she's in for a lot of trouble now, and it's going to be a rough couple of years. But it's going to be a rough couple of years, not because free speech isn't being respected. it's going to be a rough couple of years for you guys because nobody's going to tune into you. Nobody cares or is listening to you anymore. And I will, I suppose, do play-by-play as you guys get destroyed. And it couldn't happen to a more deserving group of people. If you'd like more evidence of that, this is the CEO. This video was going bananas viral yesterday. This is the CEO of NPR, National Public Radio, which of course, the word public's in there. It gets public funding. Her name is Catherine Maher. And listen to what she says about truth.
But one of the most significant differences, critical for moving from polarization to productivity, is that the Wikipedians who write these articles aren't actually focused on finding the truth. They're working for something that's a little bit more attainable, which is the best of what we can know right now. And after 7 years there, I actually believe that they're onto something. That for our most tricky disagreements, seeking the truth and seeking to convince others of the truth isn't necessarily the best place to start. In fact, I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting important things done.
I mean, that is the most dystopian, authoritarian, evil shit. Like, if you were coming up with the bad guy in the movie, that's it right there. Wow. What does she say? Seeking truth isn't the best of us. We shouldn't have reverence for the truth. What she's saying there is that the Wikipedia editors basically have decided, and we know this, Wikipedia, for everyone that I just told, get on X if you want to try to attain something roughly truthful, you should stay far away from Wikipedia. Wikipedia has been completely overtaken by activists who go into every page of a person or an event that they don't like or an organization they don't like, and they completely ransack it and change all of the facts, and they find, you know what they do, because Wikipedia, it's all crowdsourced basically, so they find some crazy article written on some random website and they use that as a data point to tell you something in someone's Wikipedia page. But she's basically saying, oh, that's how it should be done because the truth is getting in the way of, what does she say at the end? Basically doing stuff. Now, I don't know exactly what it is you want to do. I have a sense because you're a lefty and a wokester at NPR, and we've just soundly rejected a lot of the stuff that you want to get done. But that is the most, you know, when I quote Jordan, why should you say the truth? Why should you say the truth? Think about it. Really, what Jordan's argument is that you should say the truth because if you don't say the truth, what you will put into the world will have repercussions and reverberations that you cannot imagine, that the truth is ultimately the best of all options. So even if you lie to get something that in short term is good for you, ultimately it will not work out. It doesn't mean that saying the truth always will make great things happen. You could say the truth and bad things might happen to you, right? Like the gang and the mob may not be thrilled with you, but over time, the truth will win out. So you should say the truth for truth's sake. And that's so counter to what the CEO of NPR just said. Defund that freaking thing tomorrow. We'll have more on the other side, but first let me talk to you about Simply Safe. Guys, if you're ever worried about the safety of your home and family, there's no better time to act. Right now, you can get 60% off a new Simply Safe security system, their best deal of the year. Simply Safe is the home security I trust. I've been using it for years and love the peace of mind it brings, knowing my home is protected 24/7. My listeners can save 60% off today just by visiting simplysafe.com/Rubin. Simply Safe is a new way to protect your home that stops intruders before they break in. Old school systems take action only once somebody is already inside your home. That's too late. Simply Safe's Active Guard outdoor protection changes the game by preventing crime before it even happens. If someone's lurking around or acting suspiciously, those agents see them in real time, talk to them directly, set up your spotlights, and even call the police before they've had a chance to break in. Plus, there's no long-term contract, no cancellation fees, and it's around $1 a day for all this protection. Simply Safe is offering my listeners an exclusive early access to their Black Friday sale this week only. You can get 60% off any new system with a select professional monitoring plan. That's their best offer of the year. Head over to simplysafe.com/Rubin. That's simplysafe.com/Rubin. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Okay, so let's go from sort of the propagandists who've been lying to us, who don't like truth, who don't like an even playing field, who really don't like this country very much. The thing they seem to like is control, especially over truth and the narrative. And let's counter that to what's happening with this incoming administration. This is from the recount. And I just want to show you the people that Trump has chosen for some of the important departments so far. This is obviously not everybody, but Marco Rubio at State, Scott Bessent at Treasury, Pete Hegseth for Defense, Pam Bondi for Justice, that was just yesterday, Doug Burgum for Interior, Brooke Rollins, Agriculture, Howard Lutnick, Commerce, Lori Chavez DeRaymer, Labor, RFK, HHS, Scott Turner, HUD, Sean Daffy, Transportation, Chris Wright, Energy, Linda McMahon, Education, Doug Collins, VA, Kristi Noem, Homeland. This is just a small selection. Obviously, there's also Tulsi and some other people. But what's happening here, I think largely, is that we are seeing people be hired because of qualifications. You might not agree with every single one of those things. And look, they're all going to go through confirmation processes, and we'll see. But it is very clear that this is in stark contrast to what we've seen for the last 4 years, where they literally were like, Pete, you're gay, you be in charge of transportation. Oh, Dick Levine, you chopped your wang off, you're going to be Assistant Secretary for Health. Oh, other guy, you wear a dress, you'll be in charge of the nuclear secrets. I mean, these are all literal things. These were not qualified people. We are going back to meritocracy. We are going back to competence. And I think when you then add in the DOGE thing, Department of Government Efficiency, that Elon and Vivek are going to be in charge of, you're going to see not only are we going to cut budgets quickly and get rid of departments quickly, but we're going to see competent people making the government work for us, instead of what we've been doing, which is basically we're just endlessly paying them to work against us. And guess what? Within the election was 3 weeks ago today. Well, Americans seem to be seeing it already, because check out this new poll on Trump approval, and he's not even in office yet.
Take a look here. President Trump's transition net approval. You go back to November of 2016. Look at this. It was just at plus 1 point. Just at plus 1 point. That is well below the historical norm. Look at where we are today. Significantly higher. Plus 18 points. That's 17 points higher on the presidential transition net approval rating. The bottom line is this. If 8 years ago Americans were lukewarm on Donald Trump, at this particular point they're giving him much more the benefit of the doubt. A lot more Americans are in love with this transition. This much more meets the historical norms, where normally presidents get that boost coming out of their victory. And what we're seeing here is Donald Trump's presidential transition is getting a thumbs up, and dare I say, 2 thumbs up from the Americans.
Think how wild that is. So 8 years ago, he gets into office. Everyone says it can't happen. It's the day after he's elected. And then it's basically like net approval plus 1. Okay, he didn't get the popular vote, but he's president. You know, we'll see what happens. But that's after they've been calling him Hitler and everything else. Then we go through 8 more years of Hitler, of Nazis, white supremacy, all of the stuff, everything that the machine could throw at this man. And now his net approval is 18 plus, right? Like, think how absolutely incredible that is. Because I think what's happening is, for all of the people on the margins who maybe didn't vote, or, you know, maybe they voted Kamala, but they really weren't into it. They just couldn't make it happen. They just couldn't make the Trump vote work. They basically have now had 3 weeks to see what's going on. And they're probably looking around for the most part. And because the picks have been pretty competent, and there's a lot of former Democrats in there, much like Donald Trump himself, in essence, was a former Democrat, I think people are going, there's a chance here. There's a chance, and it might work. Now, not everybody is saying there's a chance. There's this blonde woman over on the televised mental institution known as MSNBC, Joy Reid, and she's not going to have a job much longer, and she's going down with the ship over there. And here she is, just having a meltdown about basically everything she says here is complete and utter nonsense.
2 weeks ago, Donald Trump announced the selection of the world's richest billionaire, Elon Musk, and near billionaire Vivek Ramaswamy to create the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, in his new government next year. Now, before I go any further, I need to point out to you that even Donald Trump can't just invent a department of the federal government. The Constitution clearly states that only Congress has the power to establish departments and agencies. But, you know, Constitution, schmonstitution. He can do what he wants, right? And what Trump is actually doing, besides helping Musk promote one of his favorite cryptocurrencies, coincidentally called Dogecoin, which he promotes on his ex-Twitter and which is up 190% over the past month, also totally coincidentally, I'm sure, is that he's using the powers of the presidency to get around the inconvenient constitutional checks and balances in order to personally decide who wins and who loses in America. Off the bat, Musk and Ramaswamy have already promised massive cuts to eviscerate federal agencies Republicans don't like. They want to cut $500 billion a year from the federal budget and fire all but 5% of federal employees. They claim, outside looking in, that the agencies have been bloated with federal employees who won't be needed to enforce regulations since Trump is going to get rid of most federal regulations. So, get ready to enjoy unregulated financial markets, polluted air and water, and raw unpasteurized milk, likely without Obamacare to help you out at the ER. You're welcome.
God, it's so, once you see through them, that thin veneer thing I'm always talking about, all they want is control over everything. First off, it's not the so-called DOGE department. That's what they're calling it. So-called, no, it's called that. So that's number one. Number two, it is true what they say about blonde women. I think that's number three. She makes $8 million a year over there. You're going to say goodbye to that pretty soon, lady. As for checks and balances, it's like you guys constantly are undermining our institutions at every level. You're the ones that want to pack the courts. You're the ones that say we shouldn't abide by laws that we don't believe in, right? Like, you guys are the ones that fundamentally say the United States is not good and our institutions are rotten and capitalism isn't good. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about, lady? Also, he's going to get rid of, or Vivek and Elon are going to get rid of 95% of federal employees. Well, we will see. But I would say that's obviously an ambitious goal. But if they got rid of 50% of them and started making things work more. Remember that video we played you a couple weeks ago where somebody on AI, they took that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, and then they replaced all the news people saying a threat to bureaucracy. That's what this is really about. What she loves is bureaucracy. They love bureaucracy. They love just this never ending, and this is what we call the deep state. They love this thing. It doesn't matter if a Republican comes in or a Democrat administration comes in. It doesn't matter what the differences are, that this thing will always operate, and it will always need more money, and it will always need bigger budgets, and it will always have money for people overseas and never have money for Americans. Well, we're about to have a bunch of functional people go in and clean that up. And that's what they're scared of more than anything else, because once things start getting cleaned up, and the government's kind of working more and you have more money in your pocket and we see the markets a little bit looser and you can borrow money at a cheaper rate and all those things, and everyone's going to be happier, and then we're going to all look around and go, boy, those freaking Democrats and their MSNBC, CNN lackeys lied to us about everything. And then, lady, when you go get your hair dyed, which I think is cultural appropriation, the woman who's doing it is going to say, Joy, you're not very good at what you do. Let's continue, though, because it's not just Joy Reid. Here's another news person, some sort of journalist type, saying that DOGE is actually going to waste money. So the department that they are creating to eliminate 95% of the jobs, cut $2 trillion, very ambitious goals. There's just no doubt they can do it. It's actually going to waste money. Okay.
Don't let it be lost on you that they are talking about getting rid of wasting money while creating a new agency to somehow get rid of wasting money, right? Like, it's a joke.
Yes, lady, that's what they're doing. They have to create an agency that's going to now have oversight of the other agencies to get rid of the waste. Like, that's such low resolution thinking. Like, oh my God, we got them. They're creating an agency to get rid of agencies. We have something like 470 federal agencies. By the time they're done, the goal, I think, is to have about 100 and have the staffs massively cut. And the only question you have to ask yourself is, do you think the government is really good at a ton of stuff? And do you think it deserves more of your money and everything else? Do you know the way the federal government budget works? All of these departments, they get X amount of dollars per year. And then if they don't spend that amount of money, their budget gets cut. That's why the federal government always needs more money, because they always get to their budget or surpass their budget because they want more money for the next possible year. You could never run your household like that. You could never run a business like that. But somehow the government can do it. Oh, because it's not the government's money. It's your money. And they really fear that they are going to lose control right now. And guess what? they are. The other thing that's going to happen is not only are we going to be more fiscally responsible, but we are also going to deal with the border. And there's two issues here with the border, because the border, it was opened up basically by Biden, Kamala. We know that this, 12 to 15 million people came in. They went to all these sanctuary cities. So there's the literal border issue. But of course, the other issue is that there are these sanctuary cities and states, which by definition should be illegal because these people are not legal members of the United States of America. But okay, these things happened. We know this. Places like New York, which are, as Eric Adams says, suddenly the neurons are firing because the machine's going after him. He's suddenly like, I don't know if I'm into this sanctuary city stuff. Well, we played you this video yesterday. This is Denver Mayor Mike Johnston. And he's saying that he's willing to go to jail to make sure that people don't get deported. This is in Denver, which for any of you that have been to Denver in the last 5 years, Denver should be one of the most beautiful, functional cities in the entire country, and was. I used to love going to Denver. We went there 3 years ago for my book tour. There were so many homeless encampments everywhere, tents everywhere. It is not what it's supposed to be, and it's largely because of this clown. So let's just replay this again, and then we have something on the other side.
Asked you very specifically, are you open to sending Denver police officers to the county line to stop federal forces or National Guardsmen from other states from coming into Denver?
We have no plan to do that. And we really hope that we don't ever have to do that. I think
no plan, but are you open to it?
What we're going to do right now is, it's hard to keep an eye on what the future president actually plans to do and what the proposal actually is.
It sounds to me like you're walking back the comments from a couple days ago saying that you would be willing to send Denver police officers. Do you regret making those comments and now getting questions like this?
Would I have taken it back if I could? Yes, I probably wouldn't have used that image because that's an image I hope we can avoid. What I was trying to say is this is an outcome I hope we can avoid in this country. I think none of us want that.
You talk about civil disobedience. You've mentioned that a couple of times now. Would you be willing to participate in those as the mayor of Denver? Would you be willing to go out and protest these things?
I would. If I believe that our residents are having their rights violated, if I think things are happening that are illegal or immoral or un-American in our city, I would certainly protest it, and I would expect other residents would do the same.
Trump's new border czar, Tom Homan, has said that he is willing to arrest leaders like yourself for standing in the way of these policies that they want to enact. Would you be willing to go to jail for these things?
Yeah, I'm not afraid of that. And I'm also not seeking that. I think the goal is we want to be able to negotiate.
Okay, so the reason I'm showing you that, again, we showed it to you yesterday. I mean, it's really rather extraordinary what he's saying. He says, if our residents have their rights violated, the illegals are not your residents. They're not even residents of the United States of America. So everything that he does there is a shell game to keep your eye off the ball. If you voted for this guy, you're getting exactly what you deserve. But I know there's obviously many good people in Denver. And why wouldn't he care about the people who voted for him? Why wouldn't he care about the people who are legally there? Why is he so sure that he will defend and maybe even go to jail for illegals who shouldn't be in this country in the first place? And you know what happens when you start bringing illegals in? Well, you don't know what they're going to do. And check this out from yesterday. I mean, this is deeply depressing, actually. This is from Greg Price. He wrote, Denver Mayor Mike Johnston, I will use police to block the feds from deporting illegals. He's paraphrasing the video I just showed you. And one day later, illegal alien in Denver is charged with raping a 14-year-old girl. I would say that qualifies as having one of your residents' rights violated, but that's what these people are doing. So there he is, a mayor of a major, one of the most important cities, a top 10 city in the United States, saying that he will not deport people. He would potentially go to jail. He'll fight the federal government on it. And Tom Homan, who's going to be the new border czar, former head of ICE, and I keep saying the best line on this guy is that he would play himself in the movie. Like in Casting 101, they'd be like, we need Tom Homan, and Tom Homan would show up to play himself. Well, he's not messing around. Listen to this.
But look, me and the Denver mayor, we agree on one thing. He's willing to go to jail. I'm willing to put him in jail. Because there's a statute, it's Title 8 United States Code 1324 III, and what it says is, it's a felony if you knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from immigration authorities. It's also a felony to impede a federal law enforcement officer. So if we don't want to help, that's fine. He can get the hell out of the way. But we're going to go do the job. President Trump has a mandate for American people. We got to secure this country. We got to save American lives. And I find it shocking that any mayor of a city would say, President Trump's been clear. We want to concentrate on public safety threats and national security threats. I find it hard to believe that any mayor or governor would say they don't want public safety threats removed from their neighborhoods. I mean, I don't know what the hell is going on in Denver, but we're going to go and we're going.
That's the type of guy we've needed in government. We needed serious people, and we're about to get serious people. And as I have said a million times, and since this is going to probably be the big issue of 2025, look, we can have all sorts of conversations about people who have been here for years and living legally and how did they get here and everything else. But what we're dealing with right now are the national security threats, the overrun cities, people who are bringing in drugs, causing crime. We all know what's happening in our cities. Those people gotta go. Then we can have separate discussions about everything else and the dreamers and people who were born here and all of those things. But if we're not willing to do any of this, there was that video we played you a couple of days ago where someone on CNN was like, well, this is just gonna be hard to do. Humans do hard things. Humans, you have to make tough choices. And we will either decide to have a country or not. I don't want to end up like Canada. Canada right now, they have let in all of these Islamist jihadists and they are literally taking over the country. And it's happening in the UK and Germany, and it's happening in France and elsewhere. We've still got a chance, and we've got guns. So we voted Donald Trump in, and he clearly is surrounding himself with a serious group of people that are going to do some things. There's going to be moments of messiness, right, as we roll into the new year. There will be moments that it's going to be difficult, and there will be hard decisions that have to be made. But man, if we can't all agree that the criminals got to go and that the mayors of cities cannot defend the criminals and the people who are bringing drugs over, then what are we really talking about at all? Let me talk to you about 1775 coffee, and then we will talk more about what's going on in some of these blue states and cities in just a sec. Guys, Peaberry coffee isn't your average bean. It's coffee's best kept secret. Only 5% of coffee beans grow as pea berries, making them denser, more flavorful, and packed with bold energy to kickstart your mornings. This isn't just coffee, it's a richer, more powerful brew. 1775 Peaberry coffee is for those who refuse to compromise. Each bean is hand-picked at high altitudes for that smooth, powerful kick you need to fuel your day. No corporate crap, no woke nonsense, just the best coffee you'll ever taste. And it's not just about the coffee, it's about what it stands for, whether it's Peaberry, dark or medium roast, or the new mushroom blend. 1775 coffee is about quality, freedom, and living with purpose. Head on over to 1775coffee.com, grab your Peaberry, and join the coffee revolution. Use code Rubin to save 15%. Your mornings deserve better. Brew Rebellion. All right, let's continue with the border stuff for just a minute. This is from an X account, Anonymous PA Voter. I like just grabbing random accounts and getting stuff from them. That also is the new nature of the media. They wrote, Joe Biden should have enforced his executive order limiting border crossings back in early 21. Because holy shit, his incompetence on the border and telling people that the border was secure was so insulting. Cities in the US are simply not capable of handling a crisis like this. So in essence, what you're looking at there is an absolute explosion of people coming across the border. We all know that. I'm just showing you that as the setup for this. So now look at this. This video also was going really viral yesterday. This is so sad. I mean, there's no glibness or anything else here. This is video of what they're saying is a 2-year-old child from Venezuela who apparently came to the United States alone with a paper and a phone number and is looking for her parents. And this is the type of thing that is happening. I mean, this is just wild.
Venezuela, mamá. Venezuela. ¿Sí? ¿Qué tantos años tienes? ¿2 años? ¿No vienes con tu mamá y tu papá? ¿No? ¿Venezuela? ¿Para dónde vas, mamá? ¿Dónde están? ¿Estados Unidos? Okay.
I mean, I have to tell you guys, as the father of two 2-year-olds, I mean, the idea that a 2-year-old could just be left with whoever the parents put the kid with, or they were separated, or whatever happened there. But this is the fault of the Biden administration. This is the fault of Kamala Harris and whoever is really in charge of the whole damn thing. You made it clear that people could somehow get here, and now parents are separated from kids. Like there's so many cascading effects of the horrors of what has happened here. But now let's jump back to Tom Homan, because he's going to deal with this nonsense, and he's going to staff appropriately and do things in some of these blue cities like LA, whether they like it or not.
Look, we don't want to help, get the hell out of the way. If I got to send twice as many officers to LA because we're not getting any assistance, and that's what we're going to do. We got a mandate. President Trump's serious about this. I'm serious about this. This is going to happen with or without you. Hopefully with you, but if not.
So you can decide, if you live in a blue city, you can decide right now when your mayor, like the mayor of Denver, says, hey, we're going to stop them from coming in and getting rid of the illegals. You can decide, I'm going to continue voting this way or not. You can get out there and protest. You can push back in any way you can. But the federal government is now coming. I don't love big government. I don't love the feds, but I do like a government that is slim and trim and does the few things that it's supposed to do. And here's Homan saying, we're just not messing around anymore. And guess what? I actually think, although the media is going to be apoplectic about it, and they're going to tell you that it's the Nazis coming and all of those things, I think what you're going to find as we start removing the criminal elements, and we get, say, Venezuelan gangs and MS-13 and the fentanyl people, as we get them off the streets, I actually think the normal, sane people of the blue states and cities are going to wake up and be like, you know what? We kind of did need that. Check out this video of an Oakland resident talking about what's been happening in her city, which, as you know, if you think LA and San Francisco and Portland are bad, Oakland is like getting pretty damn close to being ground zero for all of this lunacy.
To cut already shortened police department makes absolutely no sense. And to cut the fire department means absolutely no sense.
Tahira Hodge worries about possible cuts to police and fire. She and her family evacuated from their home last month in the Keller fire. She credits the fire department for saving her neighborhood.
I looked out and I saw all the smoke and there was some fire in the trees, and I was like, oh my gosh.
In a contingency budget plan released in June, the city talked about reducing the police force down to around 600 officers. Right now, the city has roughly 670 officers. Oakland had 613 officers back in 2013, so 600 would make it the smallest force in years. The contingency plan would also brown out a handful of fire stations, freeze positions across city departments, and reduce hours at rec centers, libraries, and senior centers.
Do you realize how psychotic this is? Like, this is a snake that eats its own tail situation. That Oakland, which has lost a ton of people, right? People with money did not want the crime and everything else, and they were defunding the police and all that stuff. So they left. Now the budgets go down. And what's the answer from the government? Okay, we'll cut the police and the fire department. Oh, and we happen to live in a fire area, fire zone, but we're going to cut fire department, and then people will just have to deal with that. Oh, and the crime will go up. We played that video, what was that, 2-3 months ago, where that entire strip mall in Oakland disappeared, and everyone was very upset that Walmart was gone. But the crazy one was they closed not only a Starbucks, but they closed an In-N-Out. It is the only time an In-N-Out has been closed in the United States. In-N-Out is the best fast food burger bar none. I'm not going to listen to any of this Shake Shack nonsense, okay? I just will not do that today. And they closed In-N-Out there because there was so much freaking crime there. So it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy, right? You push all of the good law-abiding people out. You push all of the people out who produce, who make things, who do things, who abide by the law. They all start leaving. Then the budgets go down. Then the crime starts going up. Then you have a bunch of incompetent people running everything. And then suddenly you have less police in the places that need it most. And we're constantly told, oh, black people don't want more police. But it's just simply not true. If you're abiding by the law, you don't have a problem with your police officers. Here, where I live, I love saying, I see my police officers quite frequently, and I'm in a nice suburban area here, and I always go up to them, and I say hello, and I remind them who I am, and I live over there, and you should know your local police officer, know your mayor, all of that stuff. I talk about that all the time, you know that. But okay, it's not just that they've rotted out the people who are supposed to protect us and make sure our homes don't burn down. The one thing that they've really done that is probably the root of all of the evil we're seeing right now is they have absolutely destroyed public education, which is why homeschooling and pod schooling and chartered schools and everything else, and school choice really is a huge movement right now. Listen to this video. This is from the Chicago Teachers Union. This is a rally, and there's a woman, I believe she's wearing a Hamas keffiyeh, which in and of itself, that should be enough not to really take this woman seriously. But listen to what she says about the children and who's the rightful owner of the children. Listen to this.
More boldly. It is time to make sure that we protect our communities and our city from the policy that is coming. I want to leave you with the words of James Baldwin. The children are always ours, every single one of them, all over the globe. And I am beginning to suspect that whoever is incapable of recognizing this may be incapable of morality.
You guys get it, right? Like the rot is so deep. The children are not yours. The children are the parents. You have a job. The state pays you to educate the children from say 9 a.m. to about 3:15 p.m. and that's it. But you think you own that there's a divine ordinance that's saying that those children are yours. They are not yours. When I was in third grade, I loved my third grade teacher, Mrs. Kochenauer. I absolutely adored her. She read us The Secret Garden after lunch, and she would do all the voices. I loved this woman. Now, if I had started going home with her after school, that would have been a little weird. I remember one time when I was in about 8th grade, I saw my 1st grade teacher, Mrs. Siegel. I saw her at Woodbury Bowling Lane. And I thought, my God, I can't believe that Mrs. Siegel bowls. But I didn't start bowling with her and then have dinner with her and then have sex with her. But that's what these people want. If I'm not mistaken, this is now I don't mean to be funny, but I think she actually had a stroke at the bowling alley years later, which was a great way to go. I loved that woman, loved them. I had a great public education. It was a long time ago. But you see, they think, no, if you're the parent, you're in charge of the kid. They're not in charge of the kid, but you can see that it's just deeply infected and twisted absolutely everything, and we must extricate ourselves from it, and we are doing it with the massive school choice movement. Let's talk about Rumble Premium for a second, then we'll get over to what's happening with the fight now that exists with the remaining sane libs, and what are they going to do because they don't want to be scary conservatives. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built the platform for the small creator. They didn't censor or have biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. No one thought platforms would censor political conversation or censor opinions around COVID, but they did. Facebook admitted they fell to pressure from the Biden and Harris administration. Of course, Rumble did not. They held the line. They're attacked daily for giving us a voice to talk to you. They're attacked in corporate media. They're attacked by governments like France. They're attacked by brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. Corporate America is fighting to remove free speech while Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers alone. They don't get much of it. So watching our show is the number one way we can ask for support from you. But if you really believe in this fight and you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with promo code Rubin when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/premium/Rubin and use code Rubin. Like I said, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now is the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, we're just happy if you watch us right here on Rumble. All right, so let's jump over to what's happening with the whatever sliver of sane liberal lefty is left. James Carville, you guys know James Carville. He was the one that I was on Real Time with Bill Maher with, and I said that the Very Fine People thing was a hoax, and he was like, and he crumbled into the desk. Well, here he is going after Jon Stewart, because Jon Stewart, and Jon is a strange one, because Jon should have been, in some ways even more than Bill Maher, Jon Stewart should have been the standard bearer for liberalism in the mainstream. He should have never gone woke. He should have fought for old school Democrat liberal values. And then I would be playing clips of him all the time and being like, boy, that's an honorable position, even if I disagree with some of his political conclusions or the way he's voting. But he went all in on that crazy woke stuff. He's been all about the gender stuff. He calls everybody racist and Trump Hitler and everything else. But the new move that the Democrats are making over the last couple of weeks, I've seen this repeatedly, is they're pretending that somehow Kamala Harris's campaign didn't run on wokeness. And yet the entire thing obviously was wokeness, and the entire thing obviously was identity politics and the rest of it. So here's James Carville going after Jon Stewart, because Jon Stewart basically is pretending, no, Kamala didn't have anything to do with wokeness or running identity politics or the rest of it.
The discussion now, I saw Bill Maher, I saw Jon Stewart, I saw different people in. Did it hurt us? Of course it hurt us. And so Jon Stewart says, well, it couldn't have hurt because no Democrat ran on it. Of course they didn't run on it, because it was, even to the most clueless progressive that you could imagine by that time, they knew it was a disaster. So in order to escape any responsibility of what happened, they said, well, that stuff was never used in 2024. Well, you're wrong. It was used. See, in politics, in comedy, if you tell a bad joke, who gives a shit? You just tell a bad joke and you throw the bad joke away. In politics, if you have a bad policy, particularly one as bad and stupid as this was, you may throw it away, but the other side gets to play. Understand that. This is a two-sided thing.
That is a great point, James Carville. I've been somewhat critical of you, not only on camera, but on this, on camera when I'm sitting with you, but on this show. But you're making the right point there. You can't run away from everything you just ran on. We're watching them do it in real time. We're watching them pretend they had nothing to do with any of this. But the entire Harris campaign was based in equity. These were the people who every time we said, judging people by the color of their skin, not the color of their character, that's a problem, that's racism, they would be like, no, we need quotas and all of those things, all the reverse of the MLK stuff. So they ran on this, it was soundly rejected, and then to Carville's point, now we get to use it against them. But they're going to literally pretend they had nothing to do with it, which is just an extraordinary sort of philosophical notion that you could just push. Like Jon Stewart, you did for 20 years. You've been pushing this bullshit on everybody, right? We've played a bunch of clips of you with all the woke nonsense and the trans stuff and all the rest of it, making fun of, what was it? It was like the attorney general of one state who was trying to, make sure the kids weren't going to be transitioned, and you mocked the hell out of them. It's like, you did this, you guys did this, and now have at it with the crazy people. Sorry, you let the inmates run the asylum, and now you're going, oh shit, like our protected room in the asylum's not so protected anymore. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do this segue, but there is a girl by the name of Ariana Grande, and she's in the new Wicked movie. And just when you think, and this is why I think we can't let go of pushing away the woke stuff for now, because it's not going to just disappear. You have to remember, even culturally, there are movies that have been in the can for 2 years that are going to come out. There's music, there's TV shows, all this stuff. It doesn't just disappear overnight. So there's the new Wicked. You can remember the Wicked Broadway play, and I guess it's a prequel. I never saw it, but I guess it's a prequel to Wizard of Oz. And here's Ariana Grande talking about the new Wicked that she's in, and it's just a gay romp, and everything's gay, and the Munchkins are gay, and the witch was a lesbo, and Tin Man was blowing the scarecrow, and okay, play the clip.
Every day in the Emerald City is a pride parade.
Oh my God,
right?
yeah.
I mean, look at
That's actually great.
But it's true.
Yeah.
Even the chickens. Those
Snow
chickens
leopard with
are
the little
gay.
cape.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, Dr. Dillman in that Bodie cardigan.
Oh.
Let's wake it up. Let's talk about it. I want that cardigan, and let's just talk for a minute about him and his little custom tea device as well, his little teacup. Dr. Dilly. With his tea and his cardigan.
No.
I'm just throwing it out there.
It's true.
Gay icon, Dr.
For
Dill.
sure.
Well, yeah. I think we found a little piece of ourselves in each other. I think there are little pieces of us that when we got to do this together, when we first started, each of us was missing like a little chunk. And I think we've been able to see in each other a bit of a reflection. And so I think I've gotten a little bit of her softness, and she's got
her strength,
a little bit of my strength.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to analyze that properly. We were the visual of the scarecrow and the Tin Man was just I probably just ruined everybody's day. Nobody wants now. It's going to be tough. You're going to watch. You got family coming over, and the kids put on the movies, and it's just terrible. I don't know what she's crying. Look, I don't have a problem with gay people. My husband's gay. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. But this obsessive need to push all of this on everybody all the time, right? It's like pushing race on people all the time. The way you get over things, the way you normalize things is you just go live your life. If you're black or you're Asian or whatever you are, and you just go live your life, and you live a good life that can be a good example for people, then people don't think about your skin color. If you're gay or bi or a scarecrow, if you just go out there and live your life, then people get over it. But if you obsessively focus on your queerness, then people can't get over it. Here's more from Grande.
It's the most important work that we can do is learn how we can listen and be there for each other and the people that we love. And especially the most beautiful community in the entire world. And yeah, I love my queer brothers and sisters so much, more than anything.
We love you back.
We do.
I want to throw a theory or an idea out there. Fierro, okay? His musical number I love so much because the girls in town love him, but also the boys do, Bo and
Yes,
Yang.
they do, yes.
Do we think that maybe Fierro likes the attention from both? I don't know.
Of course. Well, Oz is a very queer place and
I
has
think
always
so,
been.
yeah.
Even from the L. Frank
Very
Baum
much.
books, it's always been queer.
Yeah, I think so, for sure.
Gay.
Hey, we'll take it.
I've seen this week people are taking the lyrics of Defying Gravity and really holding space with that and feeling power in that.
I didn't know that that was happening.
I've seen it, yeah.
That's really powerful. That's what I wanted. I didn't know that was happening.
I've seen it on a couple posts. I don't know how widespread, but I am in queer media, so
Yeah.
that's my,
That's really cool.
I saw something happening. I don't know what it was. I saw it online, one example of it, and it's completely changed me. And I'm now telling you about that. And if you're not sitting here like this, gasping for air about the thing that I'm not really sure that happened, that somebody might have said online, a queer person did this, and oh my God, and it's like, it's all, that's why I'm really showing you this. Yes, it's easy to mock these people, but they don't even know what the hell they're talking about. It is all performative nonsense. She loves her queer people. Again, it's so pandering. So if you walked into a room and there were straight people and gay people there, first off, generally you wouldn't even be able to know that they were straight or gay, right? Like you shouldn't really be able to know. And that you'd be like, oh my God, there are the queers. I want to be with them. Like, what's wrong with the straight people? My parents are straight. I have no problem with them. Here's a video from 9 years ago of Ariana Grande walking into a random donut shop, licking a donut and talking about hating America. We cut it right before. Then the donut guy comes out. He puts some like different type of donuts out, and she goes, "I hate America." Went very viral 9 years ago. You'll just have to take my word for it, or Google it. Do you have the computer? I don't know. I don't like this woman. All right, we're done with her. Let's move on. So where are we at, guys? Where are we at right now? Well, as this new world is being born and we're seeing it, and there's going to be competency and everything else, and we're going to see the media go crazy, and we're going to see the last liberals fighting each other. What we need to do is open up a safe space for the sane people to come and join the crazy train that we're all on, the pro-America, pro-freedom, pro-loving everything that is good and decent. We need to welcome them aboard. Stephen A. Smith, who is one of these people, kind of gets it, kind of doesn't. That's why I play a lot of clips of him. He went back on Bill Maher's podcast, another one of the guys that kind of gets it, kind of doesn't. And they both seem to be coming around to the fact that something has shifted and perhaps they should realize it and act accordingly.
I don't want to speak for all black people, and this is where I need to tell you. Trump, you tell me if I was wrong or right. Okay. I said, you know what I think black people think about Trump? Like, is he a racist? Yeah, but they think every white person is kind of a racist. And do they think that white people behind closed doors talk like Trump? Yeah, he's just a crazy person.
That last part right there. Being a black man, you don't look at white people and automatically think they're racist. You automatically know they're different than you, that they think different than you, that they come from a different cultural background and experience things differently than they do. So
Right.
that second part is very, very important, because when you talk about how Trump talks,
right,
we're going like this. So that's the first time he talked like that, when he became president. Who the you think you playing with? We know better than that. We know better than that. We know that ain't the first time, and we know that the people that he was friends with all of these years, he talked just like that around y'all, and y'all didn't have no problem with it. Don't act like you have a problem
And
now.
also had some genuine black friends and black folks who like him.
Well, let me tell you this. I don't know if I told you this.
Because it's complicated.
I don't know
Life
if I told you
is
this.
complicated.
I wouldn't call myself his friend by any stretch of the imagination back in the day.
Right.
But I've told this on many occasions. I said this in my recent appearance on The View and stuff like that. Trump and I were friendly.
Right.
Before he ran for president. He used to have these boxing matches, particularly during the Tyson fights at the Trump casinos. He would be at the Knicks games and stuff like that. And if we're being totally honest, all the brothers found him to be cool.
Right.
They found him to be very cool. So that wasn't him.
Is he really like in his heart like hateful? No, I think
I've never.
I don't think his motivation is I don't like black people. I think his motivation is everybody must love me.
Thank you. And that's why that's right there. What you just said. Everybody must love me.
It's his narcissism. It's not his racism.
I have never called him a racist. I have never spoken about him that way.
That's
ever. Not one time. Not one time. Because I knew him beforehand.
All right, so the point of showing you that clip is as they're having their little struggle session over whether Donald Trump is racist or not, and then suddenly Bill Maher is now saying he's not racist, like, Bill, love you, but like I have no doubt if we did a little bit of research, we could probably find 50 videos of you relating him to Hitler or Nazis or white supremacists, or I had to debunk very fine people on both sides on your very show. And Stephen A. basically right there is saying, I've never called him racist, and I get it. Now, is there something possibly true that I never really thought about it that way? Because I really don't look at the world in a racial lens like that. But is it possibly true what Stephen A. is saying that black people, when they're talking to all white people, are always thinking you're culturally different than me and our skins are like? I really don't think so, actually. And if that is true, to whatever extent it's true for that set of people, like we got to get over that every which way. And America has. And you guys got to put this stuff down. You got to put this stuff down. And if we have whittled all of Trump's flaws away to that he's just a narcissist, so he likes to hear himself speak and he likes the adulation of the crowds and he likes the laughs and the applause and everything else, well, I think there's something we could work with there, because a guy who maybe is a narcissist but loves this country and is about to surround himself with the right people and seemingly has actually really moderated a lot of his behaviors, like we don't see the crazy name calling anymore. We just don't. We don't see him blowing up people on Twitter anymore. We just don't. Well, then that actually is the guy that probably should be president and will be president soon enough. Guys, if you haven't seen it yet, my full interview with Shane Smith, former CEO and founder of Vice.com, Vice Magazine, is up right now. Interesting conversation about media and new media and the whole freaking thing. And we got a post-game show in 30 seconds. Oh, is that new right there with my little face down there? Is that we've played it a few times, apparently. I leave you, well, it's a cold close of Joy Reid, but I guess mostly we'll be thinking about the Scarecrow and the Tin Man. Okay, see you tomorrow.
And for misappropriating black vernacular for misogynistic purposes, Elon Musk is the absolute worst.